Hey guys, well we've got the majority of this dug out. I'm waiting on mechanisms and stuff like that to be built up so I can finish the rest of the hookups for pressure plates and the like. It's been about a year, 9 months. The dwarves actually had gotten all this dug out within probably the first 4 or 5 months. The rest has been clean up. We've been moving around a lot of metal trying to get ITG set up. Right now he's on break, but he's been crafting and melting high boots for steel. We've also got our mine carts, and this just constantly happens. So here's our trap layout once it's dug out. I'm going to pause this for a second. This will actually go much deeper. This is just layer 1. I'll show you the dig pattern for layer 2 once I plot it out. This is our escape hatch for our mine carts. They will drop in at this point. If we keep going up, there's a ditch there. And this is our torpedo launcher here, which will drop them down. If any of you saw my thread on a multi-cart system, multi-cart return system on the forums, you'll be familiar with what this does. This is simply a minecart holding pattern. This will open immediately when the first cart goes past it. The next cart will go down, loop around, come back up, and then fire through. Somewhere around 100 ticks, this will close back up so it can get through again. Otherwise, it'll just stay in the holding pattern. It's just a way for me to gap the minecarts on their way down because my launchers are going to launch 2 of these at a time. If we go up, you'll notice I have loaded my minecarts, or torpedoes as I prefer to call them, on top of hatchways. What will happen is a lever will open the hatch, the carts will drop, and then they're fired off. We have set up a series of routes. These routes are single stop routes with no leave conditions. They will be launched only on my command. They're all iron minecarts, so they'll survive the magma. We've had the beginnings of our lever room, and to give you an idea, I'm putting notes on every one of these levers because this is going to get really complex real fast. These are my 4 torpedo launchers. This will control the entry bridge. These 2 control bridges. These 2 bridges right here. They're the last resort bridges. They're the last blockade to make sure that there is no pathing into the fortress. There are a couple of other methods. This is just to make sure that I can always close off all fortress pathing, just in case I need to try and lure the undead out of here, so I can make adjustments at some point if I have to. These levers on the outside will control our maintenance hatchways. You'll notice they go around a hatch here. This hatch will be a civilian blocker hatch. I'll show you how to set one up in a moment. But what they do is they'll allow me access in and out of the system around those hatchways while I'm testing things out. Once I've sealed it up, those will probably never open again. Additionally, you'll notice I have 2 doors, one on each of the inbound paths. This is the secondary path, this is the primary path. This door I'm going to force open via lever. This door is going to be controlled by a pressure plate that I'm going to put over here for creatures. When a creature hits this pressure plate, it'll open this hatch and open this door, so it'll have to repath around. I'll do the same thing here as basically a guard to make sure that I don't get anybody coming in through this way. Thieves will ignore the pressure plates, so they'll be able to get through those holes. So I do need some kind of military as a just-in-case measure. One of the things I want to show you is how to build a civilian block, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it for creatures trigger and citizens trigger. We're going to lower the weight all the way down to 1,000 so that even mice will pretty much set this thing off. And we're going to put it not right next to the hatch, but one away from the hatch. And the reason we're doing that is because otherwise they drop wheelbarrows right down the hole. So we're just going to set that up. We can set it up out of any mechanism. And then what we'll do is we'll hook this plate to this trap. This time, that way, anytime one of our dwarfs starts pathing up here, they'll open the hatchway. They won't be able to path further out. This will make sure that if any goblinite drops on the surface or anything like that, I don't have suicide dwarves. With this hatchway open, they'll be able to repath. When it's closed, they won't. We're going to do the same thing up here. So we go 2 away, creatures trigger, citizens trigger. Bring that down to 1,000. And pick a mechanism. Now up here, on these hatches, I'll have it so that citizens don't trigger. The reason we don't want citizens to trigger these is so they can walk back and forth over them to take care of the system. Particularly once you've breached the outside, if you've only got 1 or 2 undead and you need to clear it so you can work on the system, you want to be able to have them get in and out over here from the maintenance hatchways. So we'll be setting that up as well. Eventually we're going to open up the upstairs up here. I started trying to build a critter trap to make sure that my guy had enough time to get across the bridge, but I realized it's not going to work in 2 layers. All we need to do is dig upstairs here, pierce the surface, and away we go. We lost a migration wave, we lost another liaison and caravan. We're up to 224 critters on the loose on this map. We have been mass producing slabs because of that migration wave. There were a good 12 dwarves in that we lost. However, we have 7 children, which is always nice. At least 2 of those are female. That's 1. I forget if both of the most recent babies. Okay, so I have 2 females and 5 males. This is becoming a show of the Bachelorette, but hey, whatever. Other than that, not much else is going on yet. We are still digging through, and I will bring you back when I set up the dig pattern for the next layer after we get all our mechanisms on this layer hooked up. So we've completed most of our lever hookups. I have hooked up all of our pressure plates. These 2 are non-citizen. They will pop open these trapdoors here, not allowing further access. In case you're curious what it looks like when you go down, it's a simple 2Z hole. Oops. That's not supposed to have a ramp at the bottom. And then it's just got a stairway back up for the direction that it's allowed to go in. So everything from the north here, the passage leads north. For this one, the passage leads south. So we have our levers hooked up to our maintenance handles. This pressure plate here is hooked up to the door up here in the north. Down here on the top and bottom of the spiral, you can see the U-turns that I was talking about. These will re-rail the track after it comes up from the rollers below. Here and here are a pair of track stops to dump the magma back down into the pit so we don't lose it. And this will be our cart return drop right here. So the cart return system comes down 1 level, goes to a flat spot which will have a track stop to return magma back into the pits, and then it'll continue further down to a track stop area where I'll be able to safely collect the carts without involving myself in the full system above here. Now here is where we'll bring in the carts back up. We'll have 1 flat, 1 ramp up to return to the upper layer. This will be a powered roller on the flat. We are going to dig out right next to it, right here. Actually, I just need a floor there. So that we can put gears to power the mid-level roller. And we're going to channel down next to it so that we can drop a gear. We're going to do this pretty much the same way with the dwarven water reactor that we did before, but we're going to feed it through a roller down on the bottom as well. So beyond that, we just need to dig out all of these pits back down to level 2. And once they're all the way down there, we'll be able to start running track ramps so that we can run the carts back up if they fall off the route along the way. So if they fall off on this level, if they fall down in these pits, they'll run over to where the roller systems are and they'll get back on the track as long as they don't get lost in the system. If they do, we're going to have to launch some more torpedoes. So bring it back when we get more of this dug out, and I've got something else interesting to show you. I just wanted to show you a quick example of how the civilian blockers work. If you watch this guy roll up, he's going to try and go straight at the center. He hits the blocker and reroutes himself around. Once these are up, he won't be able to get into the system at all. I figured you'd be curious. So we've got a good amount of digging finished here. This gives you an idea what the upper level is going to look like. We're going to have impulse ramps up and down both lines here. These ramps here, I'm just leaving as indicators. They'll eventually become impulse ramps to let me know where the overhead route is. On each side, we have ramps going down. twosies. This is where the magma will sit, probably at about a 5 to 6 density. I've started dig-outs for where I'm going to put in dwarven water reactors. I'm bringing them up 3, and I'm going to place them back a little bit the same way I did the other reactors, so that I can try and make sure that the water stays contained and that we have no concerns about possible leakages or obsidianizing the structure. So we're going to drop down gears here. There'll be a roller here leading into this corner for an impulse ramp, excuse me. And then that'll lead to a roller here that goes up the ramp, and there'll be another gear here. Another gear will pile on top here, and another gear here to apply power to a roller that will go here. What this will do is make sure that we're fully powered up these ramps. We'll come out. If this bridge is open, we'll shunt the minecarts down to our receiving area. When it's closed, it'll look like this. So it'll come out around, it'll re-rail, and then it'll go through the grinder area again and back into the other side of the hole. So that's what it looks like at the moment. I'm going to get a little tricky with it. I'm going to tap the aquifer to fill these rather than try and bucket brigade them, so that I can try, if there's a problem, I can refill them externally. It doesn't mean I'm going to be able to start them back up externally unless I run maintenance access for the dwarves to be able to get down there to manually power them on, but I may do that as well. That may be something I expand towards in the future, because these will be safe areas to put dwarves in once the lava has filled in the bottom. I'm building in a drain so that if necessary I can drain out all of the magma, and in here is just a cross path so that the magma can flow over to the drain. It goes underneath where the cart remover is, and this stop should dump most of the magma, but as you come down, I'm building in a second drain for the cart drop system, so just in case for some reason, if it's going too fast, if it flies over this, whatever the problem is, by the time it gets down here, it should be back on tracks and it should be able to hit that stop and dump magma there, just in case, because I don't want to have full magma carts coming all the way back to where the cart return system will end up at. This is just going to be a single pile-up of carts. I don't expect the carts to take so long to get back there that there's going to be a risk to my dwarves, but either way I'm going to restrict this track. So the dwarves should walk up from the side, pick up their cart, and walk away. So even if more carts are coming in, there shouldn't be a danger. So that's where we're at right now. I'll bring you back in a bit.